Did you hear that?
Okay, we are going to take a little time here to go over the EVPs and evidence captured on the voice recorder at the Hill House Manor. Now, if you have not watched the original Hill House videos, or the, and this is going to sound weird, the video evidence video, if you haven't watched any of those and you'd like to watch that first, I'm going to leave links in the description. Also at the end of the video, if you want to go ahead and watch this one first. Also going to leave, if you click the icon in the upper right hand corner, you can get to the part 1 and part 2 of the Hill House videos, also the video evidence video, and I'm going to leave a link to What's Paranormal's channel up there as well. All of that's going to be in the description. And of course, if you aren't subscribed here, you know how YouTube works, but it's the big red button on the front page, the double arrow one-way sign in the bottom right hand corner. I'll also leave the circle at the end. This one's going to be going over the voice recorder. As I said, I already did the one going over the video evidence. We're going to go over what I got on the voice recorder. And there's a lot here. This was, we got more evidence here than we've got in a long time. We've got some great stuff here. Some of the best EVPs I've ever heard, some of the clearest EVPs I've ever heard. And again, there's some of these you're going to think that's BS. That's one of them saying that. That's got to be one of them. It's not. We had so much stuff, I actually ended up just not bothering with some of it. There were some of the little faint whispers and little things like that I just said, you know what, I'm not even going to mess with it because that's just going to make it. That's going to make the video too long. We're going to try and stick with most of the best stuff. This first one I'm going to play is kind of representative of most of the fainter ones. So let's go ahead and get into it, because there is a lot of stuff here. This first one, the first place I put the voice recorder was on the banister leading upstairs. If you're not familiar with the house, it's an older house. You walk in, you kind of have like a foyer. It's one of those old houses where a room on one side would have been like the living room or the sitting room, and the room on the other side would have been the family room, the private area, the living room, whatever. And then there was a staircase leading upstairs right in front. I left the voice recorder on that banister, and not too long into it, we picked up a little something. We were all in the living room and the dining room, just getting our stuff together. So you'll hear some moving around and stuff. But okay, for those of you that haven't seen one before, what I do is I play the clip. This is going to be about a 9-second clip, but then at the end of that clip, I'll take the highlighted part and I'll play it 3 times. That way you don't have to rewind as much. It actually happens in about 7 seconds. I'll play it 3 times at the end of the clip and highlight the part I'm talking about. And it only took me 2 years to figure this out. I'm going to increase the volume when I play the clip, the highlighted part 3 times. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Like I said, this is not long after we got there. We're in the living room gathering stuff up. Can't quite make out what's being said, but it sounds like a little light whisper. Like I say, we were in the living room. You can hear us moving around, but that sounded like it came from in that room. In all honesty, that's probably the worst one I got. Not to say that all of these are going to blow you away necessarily, but we got some pretty good stuff coming. And it doesn't take long to get there. This is not too long after that. Voice recorder's still on the banister. What's Paranormal was going to go outside and do their intro, and I went out with them to do that. And you'll hear us moving around as we're going out the door, and we picked a little something up besides the door creaking as we're going outside. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this. I say about 7 seconds into that clip, sounded like somebody wasn't happy that we were going outside or something. I'm not sure, but I say we just picked up that kind of, I believe at that time Amy was already outside. Me and Lainey were just going out the door, and it wasn't any of us. So I think Cody was still sitting in the living room. Somebody in there being grumpy anyway. Alright, this next one is just, this is just something that Lainey heard. I didn't hear it. I think that's the bad thing about not having video, because we didn't have the video cameras going at the time. I was taking pictures. Lainey was messing with her camera, so you'll kind of hear that going off in the background. I think I had stepped into, we never gave a name to that room. We had the living room and then whatever the room across from that, the room next to the well room. I think I was in there. I was just inside there taking pictures. Lainey was in kind of the living room, dining room area, and she actually heard this. I didn't hear it, and she was asking if it was me. So this is just a noise that happened that Lainey actually heard at the time. I'm pretty sure the clicking sound that you heard there was one of them messing with the camera, but then there's that boom, that bumping sound. Lainey and Amy both heard it. I didn't even hear it, and apparently they thought it came from that way because they were asking if I was the one that did it, and like I said, I didn't even hear it at the time, but we did pick up that bump. Okay, for this next one, we are going to move into the well room. Well room ended up being pretty active. This is bumping. I don't think any of us heard this at the time. We did hear some bumping going on in there, but this was just a lot of bumping going on, and I didn't even catch this until I was putting this together. There's a whisper right at the end of this clip. The whisper is what I'll play 3 times. I don't think we heard any of this bumping going on, but let's go ahead and give it a listen. So you can probably hear that continuous bumping going on. Let's say we didn't hear any of that, and then there's that whisper. I almost want to say I'm not 100%. I'll just say I'm not 100% sure on this. It almost sounds like a female saying "let me out," but it's not clear enough. I'm not 100% on that. But there was some kind of whisper there anyway. And like I say, all that bumping, we didn't hear any of that at the time it was happening. Okay, and we do have a lot of bumps going on here early at the time. This is a rather odd one because this is a little bit later. This is still in that room next to the well room. The voice recorder was. Amy and Lainey were taking a break. They were sitting outside. Me and Cody were sitting in the living room. And we picked this up. Let's go ahead and give this a listen. So you'll hear me and Cody talking there in the living room, and that sounded like something being moved. It kind of almost sounded like somebody scooting something and pushing it off like a little, or like either off a step or off pushing it over something. It's kind of a scoot and a bump. Have no idea what that is. I don't think we heard that at the time. We heard stuff the whole time we were there, but after a while, some of that stuff you just kind of got where you didn't really pay that much attention to it. But I don't think we heard any of that going on at the time. But that sounded like something being moved. And like I say, Amy and Laney were both outside. Me and Cody were sitting in the living room. And it wasn't any of us. Okay, this next one. Okay, this next one, we were all back in the living room. And we were getting ready. We found what appeared to be a broken dowsing rod that somebody had left behind. And we were kind of messing with that. And it didn't have the handle on it anymore. It was just the rod. But we were kind of messing around with it. And or Laney was messing with it. And it seemed to be pointing toward me. Laney says, if you like James, point to him. And there seemed to, I don't know, maybe it has absolutely nothing to do with each other, but there seems to be some kind of response here. Let's see if you can pick up on this.
Do you like James? If you like James, point back to him. Stop laughing.
You also heard Laney say, stop laughing. I think she was talking to Cody at the time. But yeah, we got that whisper from the other room. It's kind of sounds like, yeah. So maybe somebody there took a liking to me. I don't know. Or like I say, maybe they just don't have anything to do with each other. It could be something completely different. But it sure seemed like it was somebody answering Laney's question there. Okay, this is a rather peculiar one as well. We're still in the living room for this. I don't think this was too much later. Of course, Laney had just bought a new camera, and so she was messing with it a lot. And she took a picture of Cody, and you'll hear her say something about it looked like a lot of orbs around Cody. About 9 seconds in, there seems to be a voice here.
Oh my God. There are so many orbs on Daddy. Mama, come look at this.
Okay, so you heard Laney say, she took a picture and kind of reacted to that, reacted to the orbs. You can hear Amy in the background as well, and then right after, what was it Laney said? Forgotten already. Right after Laney says, Mama, come and look at this. You hear that? It sounds to me like doing that. It could be something else, but that's just what I hear is doing that. Can't think of anything else that might be. Maybe I'm just not listening right, but that's I don't know what that would even mean, but that's just what I hear is doing that. A fairly clear voice saying it. Okay, this next one, if you watched the video evidence, you heard this as well. This is in the well room. I'm going to go ahead and play it again here because it actually picked up even better on the voice recorder. This is in the well room. After I'd moved the voice recorder in, actually, what I had done, I was actually taking the recorder around with me. We did a quick run through the house, or a walk through, and I just carried the voice recorder with me. I didn't pick up anything until we got to the well room. And like I say, this is one that you heard on the video evidence video. Gotta figure out a different way to put that. Pretty loud and clear. Again, this is one of those some people might think it's Laney. It's not Laney. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. K2 is going off again. And And of course you hear Laney's camera in the background. Loud and clear. It sounds like you might not want to use that. Now some of the stuff from that well room, I do wonder if it's a residual thing. Which we'll get to that more here in a second, because there is one a little bit later on. I can't remember exactly when it's going to come up. Oh, yeah, that's actually at the very end. Okay, yeah, just remember that's like I say, some of that stuff from the well room, I think it might be residual, but like I say, we'll get into that a little bit more here later on. This next one is just a little bit later, right at the end of part 1 of the video. You'll hear me and Laney talk about how we could hear somebody. Amy had gone upstairs, and we could tell that Amy was in the what they call the kids' room, and where we were standing, we were right under the upstairs bathroom. And we could actually hear somebody walking around up there. It didn't pick up very well as far as the audio on the camera. Picked up pretty good on the voice recorder. Let's go ahead and give this a listen.
Did you hear it?
Yeah. That sounds like.
It's not Mom.
Yeah,
No,
that's
because
probably.
Mom's over here.
Pretty clearly, picked up pretty clearly. So those were footsteps right over us. And at that time, Amy had already walked through the bathroom and was standing in the kids' room upstairs, and it sounded like somebody still moving around in the bathroom. Okay, this next one is going to be a little peculiar, because what I did, and I shouldn't have done it this way. Let me say that going into this. We, in the upstairs kitchen, there is the belief that there's a cowboy in the kitchen, and if you're playing poker, he doesn't like women either. And if you play poker up there, he'll get involved with the game. He doesn't like poker, and so I'm there with 2 women playing poker. And we were making too much noise for to be used in the voice recorder. I should have left the voice recorder up there at a different time. But we were in the kitchen. Still got some pretty good stuff, though. Now, it's not nearly as much stuff as I thought there was the first time I listened to it. I thought, oh man, there's voices all over the place. After listening to it again and actually getting on the computer, this is one thing about getting it off the voice recorder, being able to increase the volume a little bit. Some of it I figured out was us talking in a lower tone. There were also some people outside briefly that we actually did hear when we were in the kitchen. Had to scrap all that. I thought there was like a ton of stuff coming from the kids' room. Still got a lot. Still got some really good stuff, just not as much as I thought. And this one's going to be very odd. We're actually going to have 3 separate things in this clip. So I'm going to go ahead and play the full clip first. And then I'm going to have 3 separate highlighted areas. I'll play one with a break in the middle, then play the second one, another break in the middle, and then play the third one. If you didn't understand that, maybe you'll get it once you watch it. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, like so you hear me, we're sitting down to play, and we've been playing for a little bit, and I was trying to get the cowboy to do a little something. I said, hey, I need some help here. I'm playing with 2 women, playing cards with 2 women, and then Laney says, women are going to win women are going to win, happens every time. And the first two there, the second one was not quite as clear as the first. The first one and the second one, though, sounds like somebody saying, "I'm trying." That's what it sounds like to me, anyway. But it sounds like either a female or a child, which is kind of odd. So I don't know. But then that third one, I can't quite make it out. I've listened to it several times. I can't quite make out what's being said in that third one. If you can get something out of it, let me know. Okay, like I said, I did that with a bunch of stuff from the kids' room. Matched up the video. Sometimes I was able to debunk some stuff, and then other times it kind of confirmed that yes, the voice recorder did pick up something from somewhere that did not come from the kitchen. Much like this next one. As I said, Amy was doing a live stream at the time, and was saying to somebody in a live stream that the place could use a woman's touch. And there's some kind of noise. Let's just go ahead and give it a look and see what you think. Okay, that almost makes me want to think it's either somebody doing mocking what Amy was saying, like, "I need a woman's touch," or I kind of wonder if maybe that's not the cat. Kind of the cat making a noise. Okay, we did have the ghost cat. We did capture what sounded kind of like a meow on the video portion. Kind of wonder if maybe that's not a cat. It's kind of tough to tell, but there's some kind of noise there. I can't tell if it's a voice or if it's something else, but maybe somebody having an issue with saying that the place needs a woman's touch. Anyway, okay, and this is going to be the last one of these, I promise. This is another one where three things picked up in the same clip. You'll hear Amy say she'll take 3 cards. Right after that, there's something that might be hard to make out, but as the clip goes, there are 2 more voices that sound a little bit more clear. So let's go ahead and give this a look. Again, I can't really make out what it is, what's being said. Kind of gets me to thinking maybe it's a different language. I don't really know, or it's just not it's coming through, coming through quite clear enough. But all of those voices we kind of captured at that time, they all kind of had the same tone to it. Kind of tough to tell if it's a female or if it's like maybe a younger male. Like I say, we just got 3 voices there that we didn't hear at the time, didn't pick up on the video, just picked up on the voice recorder. Okay, now this is a little bit later. This is back in the kids' room. Didn't really get anything while we had the grid going, the grid light. And then, of course, we had the train come through. You're going to hear the train in the background as well. But we were leaving the kids' room, actually walking into that bathroom after everything with the grid light, when we saw the shadow. Looked like someone, standing up in the bathtub, standing next to the bathtub, laying on the floor. As we were walking through the bathroom, Amy asks, who was in this bathroom? And it sounds like a possible answer. Now, the train almost covers it, but it does seem like there's a little something here. Let's go ahead and give it a look.
Who was in this bathroom a while ago?
Get a little whisper there. It sounds like it could be hay, it could be pain, could be Shane, something like that. It's something with that tone to it anyway. Looks like you could hear the train whistle in the background, but that was an actual train. But it seemed like some kind of answer there anyway. If it was a name or if it was just somebody saying hey, kind of hard to tell. But okay, the last thing we actually picked up. There's actually two more things though, because I always save the best for last. We have one more coming up after this. But the last thing we actually picked up for the night on the voice recorder, we had gone back into the kitchen and got this kind of peculiar thing. Laney's app had picked up the word floor, and I had set my camera to the side to point toward the bathroom. So I say, should we pay attention to what's on the floor? And Amy says there was a lot going on the floor a while ago, referring to what we saw with the light grid. And there might be a whisper after I say something about paying attention to the floor, but there was so much moving around and moving cards, even increasing the volume didn't really make it any clearer. But you might want to listen for that as well. But after Amy said what she said, something that stood out a little bit more. And we'll just go ahead and take a look at it here. Should we pay attention to what's on the floor? Look to see exactly what kind of shot I'm getting there.
There's a lot going on the floor a while ago.
No. Okay, like I said, it's kind of hard to tell after I said something about paying attention to the floor. It's kind of hard to tell if that was just cards moving around or what. But that little it almost sounds like somebody mocking Amy again, which it very well could have been if there is somebody in there that doesn't like women, and Amy and Laney kept talking about, women are going to win this, and there's this going on, that going on. Maybe they got tired of listening to them or something. I thought that was a pretty funny little, pretty funny thing to pick up right there, and it seemed like it was right there by the recorder too. And where did I think I had the recorder on the counter. Yeah, I had the recorder on the counter next to the sink when that happened. And we were getting the K2 was just constantly going off right around the kitchen table. So apparently we spurred somebody with that anyway. Okay, finally, as I say, I like to save the best for last. We go back to the well room. This is when we first went into the well room with the voice recorder. Or no, excuse me. This is we were in the well room. The recorder was still in that room next to the well room, the either living room or sitting room, just inside the door, the front door. Had it sitting on the mantle in there. And we were all in the well room. And this is one that I had to send to Amy to make sure that it wasn't Laney. Didn't remember her saying this, didn't know why she would say this. And this is what makes me think maybe some of the stuff in there is just residual. Let's go ahead and play this. This is one of the better EVPs I've ever captured. Let's go ahead and take a listen to it. So you can hear me at the very beginning of the clip, and then Laney toward the end of the clip. The loudest part that you could hear better than you could hear us. Just sounds like somebody saying, ow. And then after a pause saying, what in the world? Maybe we stepped on somebody's toe. Could be somebody that doesn't even realize they're dead back there. I think it could just based on some of the stuff we got in that area, it could very well be a residual. Now, if you're not familiar with what a residual haunting is, you have residual and you have intelligent. Intelligent will respond to you. They will answer your questions. You ask them to knock, they'll knock. They understand what you're saying. They'll actually respond to you. A residual haunting is kind of like just if you take a tape recorder. Well, like this. This is you could play this over and over and over again. It'll do the same thing every time. Say the same thing every time. It's just like somebody hit play on a video or play on a tape recorder. It could very well have been that somebody got hurt back there at one time or another. That was just something that happened to somebody, and just maybe every night at that particular time that happens. I don't really know. Like I say, that's one of the clearest, loudest EVPs I've ever captured. Maybe the clearest and loudest I've ever captured. Okay, I know that was kind of sloppy, because I knew it was going to be long, and I was trying to rush through it, and anytime I try to rush through it, I end up stumbling over myself and end up making it longer anyway. But that's all the evidence from the Hill House Manor investigation. Again, you can click the icon in the upper right-hand corner, or go to the description, or the links at the end of the video to see any of the other videos from Hill House. Also check out What the Paranormal's videos. It was a great investigation. That's the best investigation we've had in a long time. It's a place that we had been wanting to go for a really long time, and we were definitely not disappointed. Definitely some of the best EVPs we've had in a good long while. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, I know it was a little uneven, a little sloppy, but hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you're not subscribed already, please consider doing so. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, not necessarily in that order, and I will see you next time.